YouTube, I'm back. I filmed my 2025 goals video in January, and I think I posted another video talking about my experience becoming a reformer teacher, and then I've kind of been a bit radio silent. I thought what we'd do is like kind of a review of my January goals, see how we're like getting on. I'd love this to be in the middle of the year, but the first week of September, and I thought, why not we just see where we're at with the January goals that I set on YouTube, and if anything's changed, and you know what I really want to like focus on to kick on before the end of the year. She just quickly watched that video from the start of the year back, and I just don't know where the time goes. Do you know what I mean? Like where has the time gone? How is it September? I just don't know. I think a big part of that is I literally spent the first like 6 months of this year completely like in burnout. Like just in burnout. Like I was just existing. I said in that video I wanted to read 24 books this year, and I hadn't read a single book from January to June, because by the time I would get into bed at night, I would just like fall asleep, which was crazy. But then we went on holiday like very early June. That was a nice break. But even after that, and I think on that trip I read 2 books, but I still felt pretty like burnt out. And then when we came back, I was like, I could really do with just another break. And so me and Jack booked a little trip to Mallorca, and it was perfect and like everything I could possibly have ever needed. And since we've come back from that trip, that was in like mid-July, it's like, I don't know, it's like I just like been snapped out of that kind of daze I was in. Actually making steps forwards with my work, I felt like I was just doing all this work all the time and like nothing was making progress. So we're in a much better position. But yeah, like I said, that only kind of kicked in like July. So I thought what we'd do is we'd go over the key points. I wrote them down and we'll see how we're getting on. So the first thing I mentioned in that video was I want to buy a house this year, and I had a meeting with my accountant last week, and we are like set. Really excited about, because I've been talking to a lot of my friends lately. Like it feels like a scary step, but like it's one I'm really ready to make, because I feel like I'm kind of stuck in this limbo of like being an adult but kind of feeling like a kid. And like I don't know, I think that will be good for me taking that step forward, and also good, like a nice step forwards for me and Jack as well, so we don't have to keep, if anybody is in a relationship where they don't live with their partner, oh my god, the living out of the bags, like I can't do it anymore. It's just a lot. So yeah, I'm excited, if albeit a little bit nervous for that stage, but I have spent a lot of time this year preparing for that, both financially, like savings wise, where I'm spending my money, like just to kind of put myself in that mindset of paying a mortgage. So I was mentioning in that video that key goal was kind of gonna, you know, navigate a lot of the other decisions I made this year, which I feel like it has. I have really been working a lot this year. I have been so blessed since 2021 to have a bit of like an abnormal structure to my work life. I have had the freedom to work as I wish, and a lot of that work has been online, and spoke about how that was leaving me to be a little bit lonely. And quite honestly, like I think I just really lost myself a little bit. And so I did that reformer course to get in front of people, develop my confidence, develop my coaching knowledge. And I've almost been teaching reformer a year now. In like a week, it will be a year, which is crazy. And it's the best, I still stand by it. It's the best thing that I ever done. It's allowed me to have some form of financial security, because I know my shifts, I know which days I'm working each week, I know how much money that's going to bring in for me each month, which has really lessened the anxiety from making things like the app and my online clients. If people unsubscribe, if people have to leave, like you don't have that dreaded anxiety like, oh my god, what am I going to do for money? And I just didn't want to be coming into a year of buying a house and being like, am I going to be able to pay my mortgage this month? I think what happened then is navigating all of those things became a lot harder, and I think that's where I kind of crept into a bit of burnout, because I just, not only was it physically and mentally kind of exhausting, but then I still had all these other obligations. And I also mentioned in that video about starting doing my pre and postnatal, which I have actually started this year as well. It's nice to know that, you know, I am still on track to doing that. And I also did another course this year as well that was mostly around like helping to have a practical application for some more like body weight, strength and conditioning goals. I knew a lot anyway, but I think it was nice to take this course from coaches I respected and like know that I was like on the right path basically. I spoke a lot about kind of financials and where my money was coming from, and I know I've touched on it with the reformer, but I think what's happened this year alongside me doing so much reformer and like turning into, I would probably say like a new type of teacher, I realized that some of the classes on my app I didn't feel like they served the teacher I am now. Some of that content was filmed a long time ago, and the classes themselves, the value, the knowledge, the programming is excellent. But I just wanted a little bit of an upgrade. Reached out to a business mentor and we kind of worked together to realize that we kind of wanted to restructure what the app is. So I've kind of been spending a lot of this year working on an app restructure in terms of we're doing quite a big refilm, quite a big rejig of the classes. The core things stay the same, like the front splits classes, the middle splits classes. We are refilming the pancake series, but we're also bringing lots of new things to the new app, which is going to be like flexibility fix-up series and like a sculpt series and like a bend balance build series, alongside still all these amazing follow-along programs in a different app. And it feels like I'm now building something to represent my adult self, my adult coaching career. That is a lot, and I have been finding that hard, but I know that once that's out, it's going to be so good and I'm so excited for it. It's just, yeah, it's taking a little bit longer, so I don't have too much to talk really about that. Other things I mentioned in that video were brand opportunities. So this year I had the opportunity to work with Under Armour again, which was really, really fun, and I absolutely loved that. And I also am doing some work with Revival Shot. So they're an electrolytes company, which has felt like a really natural partnership because I mentioned how I was doing turf games back in February, which I was setting as like a little goal for myself to get out of my comfort zone. And I enjoyed it so much, I signed up again to do it in the summer. So I did a summer turf games, which was actually the day after my birthday. Then I enjoyed that so much that I signed up to do the kind of community that I train with, Deposits. They did a summer game, so I did that. And then one of my friends now asked me to do a High Rocks. So I've really got into that functional fitness. And obviously, I don't know if you guys have ever done, like do much functional fitness, but whoa, it's hardcore and I'm so sweaty. So working with them has been great. And training for that High Rocks has also mean that I've had to up running, like I was running like once a week, and thankfully like I'm back to running now, like after I tore my adductor last year, but now I'm running 3 times a week. And so having that, it just feels like a really natural partnership, and I love partnerships like that just feel so like naturally authentic. So yeah, I've kind of been dabbling again in the brand work this year, which has been quite fun. And I recently went to Gymshark Lift event at the weekend, which just made me realize like how I just need to get in amongst like that community again. I've been so busy like figuring out my life, which is the most important. Like you have to remember that life exists here, like not online. And I feel like this year I've been like figuring out my life for my real life self, not my online self. If you followed my journey or whatever, you know that I've always had these kind of deep, I guess, internal struggles, and I think I've been working through a lot of those, and I still am. And I don't know, I feel like we're finally getting somewhere. I'd still like to work with like a brand full time. I think that would be so fun for me, but maybe at the moment it's just not aligning. I think I go through this thought process, like I love new gym wear, like, and I love it. Like I love ordering it. I still order quite a bit from Pursue Fitness. I ordered some new stuff the other day. But I'm 28 years old and I'm trying to be financially responsible for a house. And like some of this gym wear, like you could be paying £200 for 2 sets. I'm like, that's just not something I can even afford right now. So it feels inauthentic to like promote it. But then I'm like, oh, well, if I'm gonna wear this gym wear that I need for my work life, I can just tell people about it, and then it's their decision if they buy it. So I think like, I don't know, I'm thinking about it too much, and I'm like, maybe because I'm having all these deep conversations, that's why it's not happening. But I don't know, I would love it. I would love that for me. I think I'm always the biggest believer in like, the universe has its timing, and I feel like when everything happened for me before, I was like ready for it. And I think this whole year has been like, well, year and a half, 2 years really, has been such a year of exploration and me finding my feet again in this new chapter. And the timing's not right. And when the timing is right, when I'm back on that track, like it will happen. Like maybe it's delulu, but I do kind of believe that. What I didn't do from that video is I really haven't like sorted the hobbies. I haven't started dance classes. I definitely haven't started piano lessons. However, we do have a keyboard in the loft, which I've been trying to get down, but I just haven't got around to it. I did go back to a new adult gymnastics set class, which was really fun, but it's just hard to get, the timings don't work out as well for me, so getting there has been hard. But I did get reading again. Thank you, Akatar. So I think, let me check how many books I've read. So this year I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books. So we're quite behind if we want to read 24 books this year. However, we're slightly behind because I couldn't read for anything for like the first 6 months of the year. So I have been reading. I have been doing my fitness comps, and I kind of went back to adult gymnastics. But yeah, that is something that I'd kind of like to do for the next kind of 3 months of the year. I want to get back into just creating videos for fun because, you know, I used to love doing that. Basically, you know, with me, like I either have to do something like straight away or I'm not going to do it at all. So I had this idea to start running like girls only calisthenics classes in Essex. And I like basically set my sights on it and decided I had to do it then and there. So yesterday I built a web page for it, set the tickets, planned the class, and now I'm like too scared to put them live. So I hope, I chose the wrong time of the year. Like, why did I not think of this 3 months ago and do it all throughout summer? I want to do it in September, when today alone, you probably notice from the lighting changes, like it's going from sunshine to rain. But I'd like to just do one. I'd like to just do one and prove to myself that I do it, because I want to, like I said, community was something that I wanted to focus on in 2025. And so I'd like to do that. As you can tell, I'm probably still as chaotic as ever, but I thought, why not just come back and have a bit of a longer chat? Me to actually physically put these things out on the internet, because then I can refer back to them and be like, okay, cool, well, did you commit to yourself and did you do what you said you were going to do? No, you didn't. But actually going back over that video has been quite nice, because I feel like I have actually made quite a serious commitment to myself in like doing some of the things that I wanted to do, and still got time to like tick the things off that I wanted to do and more, and continue to just navigate my headspace. I've got so many questions I don't know the answers to. Maybe we can figure them out together. Between here and now, I would love to document my High Rocks journey on YouTube. Obviously, I'll post it at updates. I think what I'm going to do is keep this YouTube channel for all of my vlogs, personal bits, and then for all of my training tips on handstands and things and flexibility, you can find that on like the Embrace Movement YouTube channel, which isn't up and running yet, but it will be. Hope this is the start of the last quarter of 2025 being the best one, yeah. And let's do this.